After a stellar show last week at Port Royal, we had 924 miles to the west to another big 1/2 mile dirt track rich in history and excitement. Opened in 1878 as a horse racing track, the amount of horsepower we'll see tonight would blow those forefathers off their feet as we bring the BRP iRacing series back to you for another great show tonight. This is Joe Donahue alongside Jonathan Howe for the 9th race of this season, the Hawkeye State 60, live on BRPtv from the virtual Knoxville Raceway in Knoxville, Iowa. Jonathan, I'm feeling a little punny tonight, and I don't think I've ever said this on a broadcast before, but Jonathan, how are you?
Ha! Well played, well played. You know what? I'm doing good. I am very excited to get back on this broadcast. We've had some really positive momentum going our way in terms of the series and the actual races that we're getting. Joe, I don't know what to expect from this one. Every time I think we've seen it all, we get something like we had last week where two brothers take each other out in the final lap. So
yeah, last week was something special. That was a unique experience and very fortunate. We're pretty lucky to have something as fun as this series and as exciting to call. You know, we don't have to talk about cars running in a train all race long. We get that. You know, we have that kind of excitement to talk our way through. And I know you've got a lot more experience than I do calling car racing. I'm sure that helps you a lot and makes the whole experience a little more fun and a lot easier.
For me, it's just, it keeps the mind sharp, keeps my skills sharp, but really it's just, I love watching things go in a circle, man, whether it's virtual or whether it's out on a real dirt track. And it does make it a big difference when we get the level of entertainment in terms of the actual races themselves that we've seen this year. I mean, we've had some last lap passes. We've had some great drives to the checkered. We've seen some dominant performances, some from this guy that we're seeing on screen right now, Cody Higbie in the 97. I mean, what else can you say about this guy? He has been so stout all year long and still continues to be consistent. Maybe he hasn't been as dominant as we've seen. We've seen some other players in races, but I feel like a track like this, I feel like a race like this could be a Cody Higbie night.
I absolutely could see that. I think Cody Higbie's won at this racetrack, I believe, twice off the top of my head. And yeah, currently, well, last week was when just going on top of a train of dominant performances that we've seen out of Cody. And when you look at the point situation, Cody Higbie it doesn't look quite as dominant on the standings list as it truly has been, but Cody Higbie with almost 400 points. He's just 4 shy at this point. And then Ryan Beagle behind him in second, 347 points to his name. Gavin Isley with 322 in third. And that list goes down. The top 5 rounded out by both of the Rosellis. Then Dean Reynolds, who's not here tonight, Jeff Sharp, Matt DeRitter, Nick Sheridan, and Dean Meitzler. Something interesting about that top 10 list, Jonathan, some of those drivers in that order already have missed a race. They're just so strong and consistent that even though they've missed a race, they can still stay inside of the top 10. Can you elaborate on what that might mean, what that might represent for these drivers?
I think what it really means is that we're seeing guys maximize their nights. You know, the guys that we see finish towards the front of the field are usually the same ones who are fast in qualifying, fast in their heat races, earning those bonus points. So if you're a little bit further down the standings and you want to work your way up towards the front, now is the time to put a little extra emphasis on those heat races. Make sure that you are running good when the time comes for it. And you never know. Maybe you can start really eating away into the driver that's ahead of you in the points. Just click them off one at a time, slowly but surely. And that might be the magic that'll take you towards some long-term success in this series.
For sure. That long-term success is something that there are a couple drivers who've had it. We've had this series running for a couple years now, and some of these guys, well, they obviously don't have it. You know, some of them have only been here for a few seasons, or in the case of Nick Sheridan and the Rosellis, a single season. You don't really have the backing of all of those years of experience with this crew to carry you forward. But nonetheless, it doesn't really matter for Dominic Roselli as the checkered flag's coming out in this practice session tonight. We're going 60 laps in the feature, and Dominic Roselli is going to start off the night on the right foot as he is fastest in practice. And we're just talking about practice. It's time for qualifying, Jonathan.
We are indeed talking about practice, man. And here's the thing. As much as I love seeing different names towards the top of the field, I kind of hope we're getting another Roselli duel. Like, don't you want to see Roselli on Roselli violence round 2? Or at least maybe not some violence, but a clean race between the two of them? Because yes, they had some contact that took them out of the race, and it was drama at the end of the race. But really, the thing that kind of bummed me out is both guys were having such a great drive throughout that race last week. It's kind of a shame they didn't have anything to show for it when it was all said and done. As we see Ryan Susi out here trying to make a qualifying run. We'll see how that 38 machine can negotiate this Knoxville track. A track that's very wide, very fast.
Yeah, very wide and very fast indeed. And I was talking with some of the guys before the race started tonight, and I think it's fair to say this is a chase it kind of track, because this racetrack being so flat, you really have to stay on edge and stay in control of where you're running on the surface, because it wears out, it moves around. The fastest part of the racetrack is not always the top, and it's not always the bottom, and it's not always the middle. It's just it happens, man. So it's a track that you got to stay on top of, and you got to be really smart to contend with. One of the guys who's been capable of doing that at this facility before, he's taken a few weeks off with the BRP iRacing series. He just finished his second lap, Jamie Porter, and I was wrong earlier in the pre-race. I said Dean Reynolds was not going to be with us. I'm going to try to grab a hold of him. I saw him in timing and scoring. Yeah, he's second quick. He's not on the track right now, but yeah, Dean is here, so he will represent. There is Anthony Roselli, one of the two Rosellis that we were talking about a lot last week, Jonathan, up to qualify off the top side of the racetrack.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough to knock off that quick time of Beagle, man. That's a really good lap. I like that 19.4 at the top. And you know what? Shout out to the big dog for showing up when it counts. I talked about Cody Higbie and how he's been maximizing the nights. He ended up 5th quick, as we see Anthony Roselli crossing an 8th fastest time. But, Joe, I think this is a big statement from Ryan Beagle, because if you give him this starting spot up at the front, he should be able to get those heat bonus points as well and stay up inside the top 4 or maybe even win a heat. And that's exactly what the big dog's going to need if he's going to get himself up near Cody Higbie for the points battle.
100% agree with that, Jonathan. Ryan, even though we're just closing in on the halfway point of the season, Ryan's got to try to put some momentum together here, because you're not going to stop Cody Higbie. He's more than likely going to keep winning races. You got to just take advantage of every week you can, get your own momentum back, do as well as possible every week, and then when you get those opportunities, just capitalize. That's how Ryan Beagle did it last year. We'll see if he can do it again this year. To start off the rest of tonight's program, the Hawkeye State 60, we've got ourselves an 8-lap feature with 8 cars in it, and let's bring it to you. Starting from the poles, the big dog Ryan Beagle getting the bonus points for fastest in qualifying. To his outside, Heartbreak City last week, looking for a little more tonight. Dominic Roselli in the 80 machine. Starting on the inside of row number 2, going to be Cody Higbie in the Iceless number 97. Championship leader. To his outside, Jamie Porter, the St. Catharines Marina number 45 is back. On the block, number 21P, Tyler Pachalski going to roll from 5th place on the grid. To his outside is going to be the 60 of Brian Berger, a good longtime member of this crew. Matt DeRitter in the Murder Graphics 03 car will go from 7th. And 8th place, going to be Dean Meitzler in car number 49, always bringing a crowd, the only Pennsylvanian in the crew. And they're going to come around to see the one to go, and then we will go racing on the first heat race of the evening, Jonathan. Now, this is a fairly stacked feature, heat race, especially starting with those first 2 rows. The question is, can you see one of those guys taking a jump at the beginning, or are they going to have to kind of ride in tow and see what Beagle and Dominic Roselli do?
I wouldn't put it past Jamie Porter to jump up there pretty quick. Cody Higbie, I think if you're Cody, I think you want to get up there and make the jump early on and see if you can't steal away the points advantage that, even though it's a slight one, you don't want to give up any points that you can potentially hold on to, as far as Ryan Beagle right there in front of him in that 84 Ackland Insurance ride. It's going to be interesting to see here, Joe.
We'll have to see what happens here as Ryan Beagle's going to take control and bring us down to the green, and we are racing with the first of 2 heat races tonight. Beagle, nice jump off the bottom. Roselli's momentum, will it put him back into the lead? And the backstretch, it will. Dominic Roselli into turn number 3 with the lead, coming through 4. Higbie to the bottom, looking for second. Roselli's going to lead the lap in the battle for second. Oh, look out for Jamie Porter going all the way to the top to try to avoid a crash there. He did avoid the crash, but Jonathan, a little close this early in the night.
Not the start the big dog wanted, as Ryan Beagle is back to second and maybe in danger of dropping more spots as Cody Higbie's making the bottom side work. Porter's having a look to the middle, but on the top side, the 84 is able to nose ahead of both of them, and Ryan Beagle will have to settle back in line as Dominic Roselli continues to lead this one. Down the back straightaway they go. Roselli really checking out on this battle for second. I don't know, Beagle must not be loving what he's feeling in the race car right now, because to be that fast and turn into such a great lap in qualifying, and then for it to drive the way it's driving right now, it's a little bit puzzling to see, Joe.
Yeah, Beagle's trying to chase where the track is tacky, but it looks like it kind of hurts him the way he's running this line around the bottom and then up into the middle, kind of close to the top. He's chasing it a little too much. If you watch Roselli here, he's gonna do it this time, but I saw him in 3 and 4 not chase the track. He just kind of rode the middle high line, and it worked out for him. If he does it again, I don't think so. He might be a little more on the defensive side now, as we are on the countdown, 3 laps to go in this first heat race of the night.
Yeah, it's kind of an inside to outside move we're seeing most of the front runners do now, as we get some great side-by-side racing towards the back of the field. Matt DeRitter's trying to work his way forward. He's already gotten past Dean Meitzler and Tyler Pachalski. He looks to try to get to the inside of Brian Berger here. It doesn't look like he's going to have enough time to get up there and take those bonus points away from Cody Higbie. But what a story it would be if Cody Higbie finishes out of the points in this one, as he currently runs in 4th. Berger now single file away from DeRitter as the field starts to settle itself out.
The field settles back here. Dominic Roselli going to come to the white flag this time for the first heat race of the night. And it is the Van Sickle Electric number 80 car over the Ackland Insurance number 84 as they come to the back chute. One more time, Porter. Maybe, I don't think he's within reach, but definitely Roselli's got this one as he's going to come through turn 4, Jonathan, and take that checkered flag.
At a corner number 4, Beagle closes in, maybe a couple car lengths gain through that last corner, but not much. Not enough to threaten that 80 cars. Dominic Roselli shows once again he's got more speed, and good to see him in the top spot after heat number 1.
And we come to heat race number 2. That is how you capitalize, Mr. Beagle, on a points championship run. And we'll see what comes of the next one. Is starting from the pole, Dirt Car Dean Reynolds. So sorry out to his dad and his girlfriend Megan watching along with us every week. I miscounted when he had to go to Volusia, and I thought he wasn't going to be here tonight, but he is. And he's starting from the pole for heat race number 2. To his outside, going to be Ryan Susi in the white number 38 car, back on the block as well. Starting on the inside of row number 3, Travis Cunningham, TC90 in the Southern Ontario Dirt Show house car, and the Van Sickle Electric number 7 of Anthony Roselli will go from his outside. Starting in the 5th spot in a beautiful new livery on that 18 car. Man, that thing looks slick. I like the pink. Nice stuff from Gavin Isley. Starting to his outside is going to be the number 28 of Jeff Sharp in another slick-looking machine. And catching the tail of heat race number 2, he's also back from a couple weeks of hiatus. The Beef, Corby Daniels in car number 31. And Jonathan, we were talking to him a little bit before the race. Nice to have Beefer back on track.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the Beef. It's always great to have him in the chat. He brings a lot of lively presence. I mean, the guy's really the man behind this series, behind the scenes, and we owe a lot to him for having a reason to get together like this on a Monday night. So it's always great when he can join us and be a part of this. And I got to give a shout out to my boy, Travis Cunningham, up there, 6th fastest time overall, third starting spot here. We'll see if he can get up there and take another heat win, because he does have one heat win on the year in that Southern Ontario Dirt Show ride. New episode will be out later this week, I believe. And I think we're going to have Ryan Hunsinger and maybe possibly Cody Higbie. I got to talk to Cody about potentially joining the show. So watch for that and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Joe, here we go. Dean Reynolds on the front row with Ryan Susi.
And there we go. And we're underway. Heat race number 2, 8 more laps. Let's get it. Dean Reynolds, great start. Freaking 3 wide, 4 wide maybe for second for a moment there. Isley's trying to make some time up quick. Dean Reynolds to the lead. Ryan Susi to challenge. And Anthony Roselli's right there too. As they come back to the stripe, first lap's going to go to the 79. And the second one, I don't know. He's going to have to contest for it. There goes Susi to the bottom.
Yeah, good move from Ryan Susi, who's been trying to use that bottom side of the racetrack. Really sent it in aggressively on the low side. This time, Dean Reynolds throws the block, and that's going to put Ryan Susi into position to potentially be passed by Anthony Roselli. Here comes that 7 ride to the inside. It's a good battle for second as they work into 1 and 2.
And back off the top side, Ryan Susi's going to jump back into that position momentarily. These guys look like they might have a challenge for Dean if they weren't side by side. So maybe if they single file out, we could see this turn into a battle for the lead of this heat race. But for the moment, they're still kind of looking at each other, focusing on that as they've broken away a little bit. We'll catch 4th place, Jeff Sharp. He's got Gavin Isley breathing down the tail end of the 28 ride and looking for that bonus point to get into 4th place in the heat race. And it might not be a lot of points, but it is a point, and that point can matter later in the season. Isley knows that more than anybody. He's going to be looking for that 28 car. Meanwhile, a race for the lead. Looks like it's settled down a little bit, Jonathan.
Settling down, but it's kind of heating up towards the front of the field. I like what I'm seeing from Ryan Susi. Consistent pace. It's kind of just right there in case Reynolds makes a mistake, but he's obviously got a lot of pressure there from Anthony Roselli. So those two appear to be fast, but it's just because they're battling each other so much, I'm not sure we're going to see if either of them have anything for Reynolds. Reynolds enjoying that clean racetrack, clean view out the front, and it's going well for him with 2 to go.
Going to be a lap and a half down the back chute for Dean Reynolds. Here comes Susi again. Not quite getting there. The track is slicked off, though, and it's looking like things aren't going to change much. For these guys, at least, there's a battle going on behind them as the white flag comes out for Dean Reynolds, and there is a battle indeed. The 18 to the bottom, the 28 to the top. This is the 4th place run down the backstretch.
Final spot in the bonus points for the heat. Can Sharp hang on to it? Single file amongst the front 3 as they get ready to come to the checker. Roselli has a peek to the inside of Susi. Can't make the pass, and Sharp will hang on to the 4th spot as well. It's Reynolds, Susi, Anthony Roselli, and Jordan. No, what did I say? Justin Sharp.
And that is going to conclude the heat races and give us 5 minutes of warm-up before we start this show. And a lot of times we take this warm-up session to kind of talk through the field, talk through what we're seeing and what we're expecting. But what we're going to do tonight, a little bit different. We're going to quickly step aside, and we will return in just a second to check the Hawkeye State 60 from Knoxville Raceway, the virtual Knoxville Raceway, we should say, with the BRP iRacing series live here on BRPtv. So if you want to go catch a snack, use the restroom, whatever you got to do, be sure you're back in, 4 minutes and 10 seconds so we can give you the starting grid and get you rolling with tonight's program. But just give us a second. We'll be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back and ready to go for the Hawkeye State 60. And let's bring you the starting grid as they line up and get ready to go. Tonight, it looks like this. Starting from the pole is going to be the winner of heat race number 1. In car number 80 is Dominic Roselli. To his outside, the winner of heat race number 2. It's going to be the 79 of Dean Reynolds, Dirt Car Dean. Starting in third place, in the inside of row number 2 is Ryan Beagle in the 84. To his outside, the other Ryan, that's Ryan Susi in the 38 machine. Starting 5th on the grid, Jamie Porter in car number 45. To his outside, the Van Sickle Electric number 7 of Anthony Roselli. Starting 7th, it's going to be the 97, the championship leader, Cody Higbie. And to his outside is Jeff Sharp. Row number 5 starts on the inside with the 60 machine of Brian Berger, and to his outside in the Maple City auto number 18 is going to be Gavin Isley. Starting in 11th spot, it's going to be the Murder Graphics number 03 of Matt DeRitter, and to his outside, look at that, the two admins starting side by side there. Corby Daniels goes from 12th. 13th on the grid, the Nickel Street Clothesline number 21P of Tyler Pachalski, and representing the Great White North as well in the Southern Ontario Dirt Show machine is going to be Travis Cunningham, rolling off from shotgun on the field. Going to be the other Dean, the Pennsylvania Dean, the one with the crew watching us every week, Dean Meitzler. So 60 laps around Knoxville for the feature race tonight. Jonathan, you have any final thoughts on the track state and anything that you've got for us for what we are about to see?
It's tough to say what we're going to see here. I'm kind of looking forward to I'm looking forward to the Rosellis getting up there and mixing it up again. But I really like having Dean Reynolds up at the front of the field. I think that outside line is going to prevail on the initial start of this race. And I do believe tire management as well is going to be a very key and important thing for all of these drivers. I don't know how exactly they're going to manage it. I don't exactly know if maybe one driver gets out there and kind of sets the pace. But I feel like tire management's going to be a factor. It was last week, and I think this flat track is really going to wear out pretty quick.
I would agree with that. I think the track should be wearing out, which should mean guys searching. Racing gets interesting. We'll see what happens when we get it going, which is, oh, look at that. That's convenient. Right now, let's go racing from Knoxville. Dominic Roselli's going to lead us into turn number 1. Dean Reynolds to the outside. Ryan Beagle to the inside. Great start for everybody, and it looks clean so far. Going
Good start from Roselli on the inside. I did not see that happen, and I really thought the outside lane was going to prevail, but Roselli showing the way on the opening lap. Beagle having a look at the inside of Reynolds. And here comes Jamie Porter to mix it up. We've seen Jamie Porter be successful in this series.
Whoa.
Earlier in the season, hasn't been able to make it. Oh, they're all stacking up. Everybody hang on to it. Lots of room at Knoxville, but we almost found out how little room there is on the backstretch there, Joe.
Great point there. Yeah, there's a lot of room on this racetrack. Dean Meitzler talked before the race. He said, I love this track because how wide it is, but, man, you race it like that, and it doesn't really matter how wide it is. So everybody gets it underway, gets cleared, and we are back in action 3 laps into this race. It is all over the place in the back of the field. Whoa, look out for Pachalski, and he got it underway.
Saved it.
Nice save, Tyler Pachalski. Back to the front. Dominic Roselli still leading the way, Jonathan.
Yep, and Ryan Beagle has taken away the second spot, and Porter's also gotten by Dean Reynolds, who's back to 4th now. Porter and Beagle trying to keep pace with that 80 of Dominic Roselli. We've seen Roselli have great races and really dominate races, in fact, and now he's once again set himself up to do just that. Can he manage the tires, manage the gap, manage the race out front? Those are the questions that we're going to see answered over the next 55 laps as we work lap number 6 this time.
And they come down the stretch, and it's Dominic Roselli, and it's going well for him. Meanwhile, let's check in with his brother, and a nice little race with Dean Reynolds for 4th and 5th through turn 3 and 4. And oh no, Jonathan, look who's lurking there. Look who's checking out what's in front of him.
It's been a quiet night for Cody Higbie, but now he's starting to find his way towards the front of this race. And Gavin Isley right there as well, too. Strong field tonight for this event at Knoxville, and we're seeing the best of the best come forward through the field right now. I really think the biggest thing that we're going to see over the next 50 or so laps is comers and goers. I think there's going to be some guys who try to save some stuff. I think there's going to be some guys who maybe just cool it a little bit, drop to the back, and then they will come forward when the time is right. But up at the front, Dominic Roselli setting a pretty good pace to this race.
Well, the question I have, Jonathan, we've seen it with these guys, and I think last week, maybe it's fair to say, Higbie and Dominic kind of used their cars up early, and that's what allowed Anthony Roselli into the picture so much. But this track right now...
That's 100% what I'd say.
This track right now, I mean, it's slick on the bottom. There's still grip up top, though. So you can kind of preserve those tires a little bit. Nonetheless, I don't know. I'm starting to wonder, now that you mentioned it, about Roselli's strategy right here, especially like that right there. Going into turn 1, he's sliding all the way through that slick stuff for a long time.
That's what I'm looking at, too, Joe, and I think we're going to see the groove really widen out. I mean, it already has, and I think we're going to see these guys probably right up against the wall in the apexes of the corners when it's all said and done. But I don't know, man. It's such an aggressive line, and he's already built such an advantage. Why not just maybe see if you can back it down just maybe ever so slightly and maintain maybe a 3 car length gap on Beagle instead of what he's got right now, which is probably up 5, 6, 7 car lengths. But the times look fast. He looks fast in general. Dominic Roselli doing a good job pacing the front of the field right now. But for how long will he keep that pace up?
That's a great question. Here they come through 3 and 4 again. Porter looking now. Jamie Porter is a strong competitor at Knoxville Raceway. And we're single file. We're actually pretty much all the way single file right now. I don't really know if there's anybody fighting besides this crew, and holy cow, are they fighting. A nice little battle between DeRitter, Susie, and Jeff Sharp, all mixed into the final 3 spots of the top 10. They're going all the way up to the top of the track, too, and I think we need people to be doing that right now. We need guys to go up to the top of the racetrack, work that in a little bit, and Matt said before the race to me even, that's convenient that it's him, he always likes being the first guy to get to a certain part of the track, which is a hard thing to do, but he might be the one doing it right now.
Well, the other thing that gives him is a little extra speed, a little extra pace, a little extra understanding of the line that he's running in. We heard in the warm-up kind of before the stream started, he said that he really liked his car and he thought it was pretty fast. So a little bit of a weird line there as he climbs the inside embankment there. I always do that in the World of Outlaws game on console where I find myself clipping that inside barrier and it really sets me up. I also have to correct myself earlier. I said Justin Sharp. I meant Jeff Sharp in that 28. Justin Sharp is the driver that we have at Merrittville. So that's kind of, I think, where I was, where my brain was going on that one.
And this is interesting. We've gotten the front of the grid back together. Let it be known, just to note, you see on timing and scoring, Brian Berger 12 laps down. He missed the start of this race. For some reason, Brian had to pull out of the pits to get into this one, and he ended up 12 laps down in the process of getting out here with us. So he is just trying to get onto recovery, I guess. So just have a little fun here tonight. We also have lost Corby Daniels. Unfortunately, the Beef has had a computer crash on him, and he's finished 13 laps before that happened. I don't know if I'd expect Beefer to get back into this race. Tough break for him on his return. Everybody else is on the lead lap, so the 13 drivers that we did not mention there are all running on the same lap as this crew who are fighting now for the lead. We got about 4 cars in this little train that very quickly could turn into a battle between all of these positions, Jonathan.
Remember when I said Roselli should do his best to kind of manage maybe like a 3-car gap and pace himself? Well, that gap of 3 cars is down to 1, if not even less than that, as Beagle and Porter in particular have both really closed up in on that battle. I think Porter might have the fastest of all the cars. I just don't think he's had the chance to really be aggressive and challenge yet. And, you know, we're a third of the way into this race right now. This is probably the smart move. Just casually work your way forward. You see him taking some runs as we go on board with the big dog, Ryan Beagle. You see Porter taking some runs to the inside of Beagle. You can see Beagle really right in the tire tracks of Roselli. They're basically running the exact same line right now, maybe a little bit lower into that corner there for the 80 of Dominic Roselli, but Ryan Beagle is there and having a look for the lead. Look at this to the outside.
And to the outside now. It's because it's that slider line right now that Roselli's driving is just giving him so much of an advantage to put himself in front of Beagle. See, Beagle goes high. He's going to try, and he can't because Roselli slides up in front of him, and that's just, it's holding back the Ackland Insurance number 84 right now. It's keeping Jamie Porter there. I don't know. It's getting close. It's not getting close. It's staying about the same. I wouldn't push it that much, actually. You know what, Ryan? Back it down. Keep control of that car. Get those tires a little cooler. Hold on to that rubber for the end of the race. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I almost wonder if this point is Beagle trying to force Roselli into making a mistake. We know he's a rookie of this series. You know, we know Roselli can obviously drive and wheel in iRacing, and he's done really well throughout the season. But maybe the big dog's got a little something on him that can force him to make that mistake and maybe force a move that opens the door for Beagle. If I'm Beagle, I think the biggest thing, if you can somehow find a way to get a great run down one of these straightaways and almost drive straight into the corner, maybe you can take that slider line away, or maybe Roselli doesn't see you, and then you make the mistake of wadding up both cars. So we just saw a little bit of a wall tap there from Ryan Beagle, and that actually has brought Jamie Porter back into the picture here. And you know, again, you might be onto something there about Beagle cooling things off, pacing himself a little bit, as we see about a car length gap between the leaders now again.
Yeah, and you know what? If he kind of paces himself and brings himself off of the tail of that 80 car, he might give himself an opportunity to just run better laps, run more consistent and efficient laps, and that might actually turn into faster laps. I've done that myself driving even on a road course car in a Porsche GT3 at Daytona. If you don't worry too much about it and focus on your own car, hitting your own marks, sometimes that turns into faster lap times, which obviously is going to help Ryan Beagle out right now. We're only getting to the halfway point of this race, so there's plenty of time left for anything to happen. And if anything's going to happen, Cody Higbie is going to be one of the factors in it. As he has caught up to this front group, he's in 5th place now, and he's got plenty of time to get those other 4 spots, which is what every other person in this group, at least, doesn't want to see right now. All those guys really hoping Cody Higbie isn't there. Well, sorry, he's here to spoil your party.
Da-da. Da-dum, 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 da. He's just stalking these guys, slowly but surely, methodically working his way through the field, and now he's knocking at the back door of Anthony Roselli inside the top 5. Cody Higbie, man, this guy is special. He's got something special in this league figured out in that 97 Iceless machine. It's so impressive week in and week out how he always finds himself towards the front of the field, and this is just yet another great performance as we see Beagle having a peak for that lead. Really tough to pass, Joe. I don't think anybody's found one thing as Porter has to try to work hard to keep it off the wall there.
He caped it off the wall. Yeah, Higbie's got to work for it. Now he's going to the low side here. They're all working for it right now. Man, Cody Higbie can hit the bottom. Look at that go. If you want to see a guy in a car who's driving well and proving he's got a reason to be at the front, I don't think there is any better example than 3 and 4 that last time. Cody Higbie has that car on. He could hit a dime with that car right now. That was a beautiful corner. He's going to do it again just for good measure, and that's what you need to win races. He's getting himself 4th place right now on the inside of Anthony Roselli. Dominic's still leading. Jamie trying to find a way around Ryan, but man, that 97 car, he's just proven once again why he's so dominant in these races, why he's the only repeat winner we've had this season so far.
He's just fighting that drive off. That's the one thing about the bottom here at Knoxville is you just don't get a great launch down the straightaways out of the corner the way that line runs. And now you can see him kind of move up off the bottom almost to the middle groove in the center of the corner, and that's actually helping him get a little bit better drive off. Roselli's moved down as well, and I don't think that line is working as well for the 7 car. Jamie Porter's obviously had a look in the mirror here and figured out that everybody's migrating to the bottom of the racetrack as we see the slide job move is complete for Cody Higbie. Crossover inbound for the 7 of Roselli. I don't know if Roselli can make it work down low there. Oh, that's going to get tight in the middle of 3 and 4. And speaking of getting tight, the battle tightening up for that lead as Beagle's having a run at Dominic Roselli.
Well, he backed it off that time. He might take a attack from the bottom out of turn number 2, and he will. Didn't look quite side by side that time for the big dog. And as we come back to the stripe again, now he's going to have a little bit of a fight in him. They are side by side at the line that time. Dominic Roselli still, leading the way. He will get the bonus points for leading the most laps, but Ryan Beagle might start taking them away from him as we've got a side-by-side battle into turn number 3 for the lead, and Ryan Beagle is making the middle and the bottom work, and there you go. Will the momentum get him back? Nope. Ryan Beagle to the lead of this race now.
Dominic Roselli was just all the way at the high side of that racetrack. Doesn't slide up quite as high this time, but he's searching for everything he can on the top side because the bottom side is suddenly the fast place to be in. Oh, no! Dominic Roselli saved it. Almost. Yes, I think he is going to save it. I don't think we're going to get a caution.
We got a caution. Yep, we got a yellow for that.
One. Okay.
Oh, man. I was just about to say. I was going to say, Dominic Roselli's got to be thinking to himself, not again. He's seeing these guys passing him, and he fell back to second. It's like, okay, you got to get it back together, carry it. You know, you get your feet back underneath you, and just drive. And unfortunately, not the case. Dominic Roselli, we will check a replay. Although I don't necessarily know how much we need it or how much Roselli wants to see it. Jonathan, if you can just break this down for us, if you have any insight on something about this.
I couldn't quite tell. I wondered if Porter was just to the inside and Roselli didn't see him, or if he drove in deep. I don't know if there was contact or if Roselli kind of went around on his own. Oh, just maybe... That's pretty slight contact. I think maybe Porter just thought Roselli... Ooh, and look who gets a piece of it. Cody Higbie gets a piece there to the side. I don't know how much damage that really causes on his race car. But that was just the slightest of contact. I mean, Porter's got to run. You think Roselli's going to carry a little bit more speed through the corner. Yeah, that's tough to say. And there was definitely contact there. It wasn't necessarily like a net code error like we've seen earlier in the season. Those two did touch, but I think that was just one of them racing deals, you know?
100%, yeah, and I think that's unfortunate for Roselli, but I think it's just that thing. I mean, Roselli's trying to get down to the bottom of the racetrack, and he kind of slows down more, and then that happens, and Porter's not thinking the same way. He's trying to send it into the corner, and unfortunately, he's just got too much momentum and not enough time, and that's how we're going to set him up again. Roselli doesn't have to tag the tail. He will go from 6th place on the restart, which is in the hands of Ryan Beagle. Jamie Porter to his outside, and Cody Higbie is in 3rd place right now. Oh my gosh, 15 laps to go next time.
The other thing about that incident too, Joe, and I think it's something we're going to have to watch for on the restart, is a lot of these guys have been driving around the high side of the racetrack for the most of this event. If you're going to suddenly try to get to the bottom now, it's going to be a new line. It's going to be a new feel. You're not going to have the same predictability into the corners as we've seen with the race car. Oh, Ryan Beagle. He bobbled there, and I think that was all on his own. I don't know if that's going to bring a caution. Yes, it will. But I think that might have been just a mistake on Beagle's part. I don't know what exactly happened there.
That should be a mistake on Beagle. We're going to get the replay back here in just a second. Try to get our wits about us and go backwards. Here we go. All right, let's see what happened to Ryan Beagle from the front, from the lead. Is it going to be Porter again? I hope not, man. I really hope Porter doesn't cause this one. He comes in, it's going to be the same thing. It's the same exact
thing.
Wow.
It's just that line. Porter is carrying so much speed through the middle of the corner, and he just tags ever so slightly the car in front of him as that car. The bottom just makes you slow up so much, Joe, especially in the center there. It's really, really hard to. It's just a tough racing deal, but I believe Jamie Porter may have assessed himself an end of line penalty, or somebody may have assessed that for him.
Yeah, I wouldn't think Jamie assessed it himself. That's what I'd say about that. I think that might be 2 in a row. It's 2 strikes. You're out. I mean, in American football, they call it a 3 and out when you have to kick on the 4th down. And I know in the CFL they only do 3 downs, so they might do I don't know if they have that terminology to call it a 2 and out, but that is what Jamie Porter just did. He had a 2 and out right there, so he will tag the tail.
That's a shame too, because he was driving a really good race and had a really fast car. But I mean, 13 laps, Joe. He might be able to make himself find his way back up to the top 5, maybe. But yeah, and Beagle gets that spot back as well. We'll see now. Anthony Roselli right there, Cody Higbie, and how about our boy Matt DeRitter up in 4th?
Yeah, he slowly snuck his way up into the top 5 and looking for more now in the 03 machine. This is a track he likes it. I mean, he likes the tracks like this, so we'll see if he's got a little more in him now. He's got to pass Cody Higbie, Anthony Roselli, and Ryan Beagle to do it, which is a tall ask. But it is something Matt DeRitter has done before, so we'll have to see about that. If for those of you watching along with us, we appreciate you sticking it out with us here on BRPtv for the BRP iRacing series and the Hawkeye State 60. We're getting close to the end of this one. We appreciate you guys sticking with us. We had a little bit of technical difficulty earlier in the race. That might be why the frame rate wasn't so stellar at the beginning of this broadcast. We appreciate you guys just kind of sticking out with us. That's why we went on break during that warm-up, tried to get it all squared away, and I believe we've done so, which is great. We get to finish out this race at full stream 60 FPS as coming back to the stripe. Ryan Beagle leads Anthony Roselli and Cody Higbie, and he's got a slew of cars almost wrecking behind him. Susie and Reynolds getting into it a little bit there, Jonathan.
I think we're still seeing that same thing where the bottom line takes so much kind of almost stopping on a dime at points to get the car rotated. It's been a struggle for some of these guys to adjust and figure out how exactly to do that. You see Pachalski had a great run there. He had to jump on the binders to avoid running into the back of Ryan Susie. Good action from the back of the field here as Dean Reynolds, not the night he's wanted to have. He started up on the front row and has not been able to maintain that pace tonight around Knoxville, but still a good showing early in the night, and good to see that 79 have some speed, as we do believe. I think next week is the week that he heads down to Volusia and has some dirt car sanctioning body duties to attend to as season's on.
Yep. I keep getting a little ahead of myself on calling what week he goes away. I don't do it. I don't want to. I'd like if he'd just stay around and work with us, but we do have to work for money to have food to eat and stuff, regular real world things. Anyway, that doesn't matter right now. Ryan Beagle still leading the way here, coming to 7 laps to go, and this is exactly what he needs for the championship, and what he needs is Roselli to hold back Higbie, and he is not doing that right now. Cody Higbie goes to 2nd.
Higbie to 2nd. He'll slide up the racetrack. Now, what does he have with 7 laps to go for Ryan Beagle, the big dog? Again, didn't really maximize the early part of the night. That was Ryan Beagle. Beagle was quick in qualifying, had a great heat race. Higbie, not as much so. So you know that he wants to get up there and maybe steal away any advantage that Beagle might have built points-wise early in the night. But Beagle's going to have some work to do here with coming to 5 laps to go. Cody Higbie right there knocking on the door for this lead. He's got about, 4 or 5 car lengths to make up. I think it's pretty doable in that amount of time.
I think it could be doable. Cody Higbie also has the fastest lap of the race to his name, and I definitely don't think anybody's going to be breaking it as it is slicked off a bit. So those are some bonus points into his boat, and he needs them. But Ryan Beagle had a really good start to the evening, and with 4 laps to go, I think he's hoping for no yellow. He's hoping that Cody Higbie doesn't find that little extra bit that he needs, and he can bring himself his 2nd win of the season. A lot of pink cars in the top 5. We got to go check in as Gavin Isley has broken in with the 18 car, and then the 2 Rosellis, who both sport a little bit of pink on each of them. And that's the end of the top 5. He's gotten around Matt DeRitter, who's now fallen back to 6th place, still lurking. And then behind him, Dean Reynolds, Jamie Porter back to 9th there as he's going to fight with Ryan Susi. And then 10th is Jeff Sharp as it currently stands. 2 to go at the line for Ryan Beagle, and Cody Higbie is getting closer, Jonathan.
He's having a look to the inside, down into 1 and 2. He follows in the tire tracks of the 84. The Beagle machine slides up maybe a little bit higher in the middle of the corner. Down the back straightaway they go into 3 and 4 here. They'll take the white flag this time, and Cody Higbie is there.
Oh, I don't like Ryan's line at all. I'm going to be honest. That's too far into the slick. You can see Higbie just every single time we go through the corners, he gains. This is the final set of them. It's now or never for Cody. He tries. He's there. Maybe not enough. Ryan Beagle can get enough of a run from the middle there to come back, and he will take the checkered flag. Ryan Beagle wins at Knoxville, just barely over Cody Higbie, and Anthony Roselli is going to get himself the final spot on the podium in the 7 car over his brother and Gavin Isley rounding out the top 5.
What a great race again we had here tonight. The BRP series is truly living up to the hype. The BRPtv iRacing series. Where else would you rather be on a Monday night? And congratulations to the big dog, Ryan Beagle, with another great performance as he's starting to hit that mid-season form we've seen him be so strong with throughout the year.
We're going to get them into position, let them get out of the cars. Absolutely right there, Jonathan. And there's a stat that I mentioned to you and the rest of the guys before this race that I am happy to say stuck to after this program. So we have run 9 feature races now in this season. And since we've run 9, we've had 9 different drivers finish in 3rd place. Coming into tonight, it was 8 different people to round out the podiums. So, for example, Ryan Beagle finished in 3rd one time, Cody Higbie finished there one time, Dominic Roselli finished there one time, et cetera, et cetera. And tonight, it was Anthony Roselli, who has never gotten a podium with this series. So we will get to talk to him at the end of this group, but I just thought that would be interesting. Jonathan, I'm going to hand you the big dog, Ryan Beagle, and let you take the honor of interviewing our winner tonight.
Ryan Beagle, it's Jonathan Howe up in the booth. You got a copy, my friend?
I do.
How's it going? Welcome back to Victory Lane. Really starting to hit the peak of your season here. You're really coming alive and putting the championship chase on Cody Higbie. What did you find in this Knoxville racetrack that just worked so well for you throughout the whole evening?
I kind of found something in practice that helped me in qualifying there, and I was kind of looking behind me halfway through that race and noticing guys were trying to bottom, and it was kind of working for them. So then I just moved down at the right time and got around one of the Roselli brothers there, and I'm not sure why I kept the lead on that one caution. I think the yellow just fell at the right time, and I kept the lead somehow, but we'll take it.
Yeah, and then a little bit of contact from Jamie Porter from behind in that one incident. You mentioned that everybody kind of scrambled to the bottom. When you have to do that in these cars and in the game, how long does it take to adjust to running a new line? Does it take a couple laps to get back into a new groove, challenging the corners in a different way?
It all just comes down to experience. I don't know. I'm okay at getting into the groove right away most of the time. Sometimes I have my moments, but yeah, I kind of like running the bottom anyway. So if I can get down there, I'm usually okay at it right away.
Obviously, Cody Higbie right beside you there on the podium brings it home second. You pretty much, you guys, it came down to you two to settle the championship last year, and it looks like it might be the same when we get towards the end of the season here again. How important is it to make sure that you're still finishing ahead and earning a few more bonus points than he is at this middle point of the season?
Yeah, it's important. I don't know what I think I said a couple weeks ago. I try not to pay attention to points because points racing sucks, and we're just here to try to have some fun, and we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll get lucky like we did last year.
Well, congratulations again on the win, and who do you have to thank for the drive here tonight?
Just everybody puts this on. You guys for doing the broadcast, and Corby and Matt for doing everything they do.
Congratulations. There is your winner, the big dog. Ryan Beagle gets it done in the 84 Ackland Insurance ride here tonight, Joe. And, importantly, eats away ever so slightly into that lead of Cody Higbie.
Yeah, a little bit off the top. Not a ton, but just a little bit. But we get to talk to the second place finisher and the guy who he built up a little bit of a lead, and you needed to chew into it a little bit tonight, Cody. You just couldn't quite get the number on that 84 car.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I just needed track position, it seemed like. Like me and Anthony were just discussing. I was qualifying really bad there, and, that was pretty much everything. I didn't realize the slider line was so good here. So, yeah, you'll have that. Ryan ran a great race, though. I feel like I was definitely better than him at the end. Just ran out of time there.
I think that's fair. Your line at the very end of the race was a little bit more pinpoint. You were so good at hitting the bottom down there, Cody. It looked like practice for you. I don't know how much practice you might have put in for this race tonight, but you could fool me because you seemed like you could put that car on a dime if you really wanted to.
Yeah, you can kind of tell who knows this track and who runs a lot of laps here. Like Anthony, he kind of knew that slider line was there, and it kind of took me all race to figure it out. But I knew at the end there it'd slow down and go around the bottom again, so I was looking forward to that. So, it just took a lot of patience. Really had to slow down and keep the left sides in the brown and not really spin tires. And, yeah, it seemed like out of 4 there, that berm on the bottom would hurt you sometimes, but as long as you were above it just a little bit, it would help you get a really good drive off.
For sure. And now, Cody, the big question here. Ryan Beagle got your number tonight. He's second place in the championship. You've been doing so well, and the start of this season has gone your way. But he's showing he's won 2 of the last 3 races. Does this make you nervous? Does it make you think a little bit about the championship run? I mean, he's kind of coming into form a little bit. How do you feel about seeing that 84 progress to this point?
Yeah, Ryan's a great racer, so it's definitely exciting. Ryan's usually really technical kind of racer. Usually he prevails when it's slick and slow like it was tonight. So, if we get to race it out again like last year, I'm pretty excited for that.
Well, we certainly would be excited to see that as well. But, hey, can't take anything away from you, Cody. You come out week after week and prove you are one of the guys who deserves it most. And second place tonight is none too shabby for you at a track like this, Knoxville Raceway. Who do you want to thank and shout out here on the broadcast for getting that 97 car onto the podium? Once again, I believe that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that's 9 in a row for you, by the way.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I just want to thank you guys for putting this on. Everybody watching, Tonight was pretty fun. Like I said last week, Knoxville is one of my favorite tracks. So even to start 8th and switch it up there, that was pretty fun. Coming through the pack is a different story than starting up front. But, yeah, that was fun.
Well, we're glad you had fun with it, and we're looking forward to seeing what you've got in store at Fairbury next week. Congratulations on the finish tonight, though, Cody.
Thank you. Yeah, Fairbury will be exciting for sure.
Yeah, certainly. One way or the other, it will be exciting, Jonathan. All right, speaking of exciting, this is fun. We always, like I said, we're getting different drivers into the top 3 every week, and you get the pleasure of talking to Anthony Roselli for the first time in a podium finishing broadcasted interview. And why don't we just spare my talking? Let's give the microphone to Jonathan and Anthony Roselli.
Anthony Roselli, it's Jonathan Howe up in the booth. You get a copy, my friend?
Yes, I do.
Congratulations. Welcome to the podium. Much deserved, well earned. And talk about the highs and lows. I mean, you look like you were in position for a really amazing finish last week when we know where things went wrong. But you rebound here tonight at Knoxville. And talk to us about the drive to 3rd place.
Yeah, no, it's finally good to finally put a podium finish together. I feel like I've gotten a handful of races kind of ripped away from me for a podium finish. So I just kind of went in tonight knowing that we were really fast last week and we can continue to be fast. Knoxville's one of my better tracks. I really see myself prevail on those bigger tracks. So I really knew that I could have done pretty well tonight in Knoxville, and it showed. Qualifying efforts are never good with me. I can't qualify to save my life, so that will never change. But come feature time, we definitely had a lot of speed. Dom and I found something in that warm up there. So we definitely found some speed and we were using that. And then everyone else found it. And then it was just kind of hold the bottom there at the end once the top went away, which was pretty hard because I hate hub suck in the bottom. It's my least favorite thing to do in a race car, but it was a lot of fun.
You mentioned the challenges of going to the bottom of the racetrack, and this being a track that you kind of look forward to and you knew you could run well on. Were you expecting the change in the racetrack? Did you think that by lap 60, everybody would be fighting over that bottom lane?
Not really, and I've run at Knoxville this year so far in a couple other leagues, and it never slicked off this much, so it definitely caught me by surprise. And I was just trying to mimic Cody there at the end. Cody's just such a smooth driver, so it's really hard to imitate anything that he does. And I was looking in my mirror, seeing Dom coming up close to me, and I was thinking, I really got to get going here, But I was just trying to hold it to the bottom, and it was just really, really hard to do it. But we held it there, and we finally able to do it. So all things are good.
All things good, especially when you're standing atop a podium in 3rd place here. It's always great being on the podium, and it's always great having you. Who do you got to thank, Anthony, for a great drive here tonight?
Oh, yeah, I got to thank Van Sickle Electric, Mobile Metals, Hollywood Towing and Auto, 5L Enterprises, Snyder's Construction, Accurate Collision, Lowrance Carbs. I got to thank my fiance, Kate. She always got my back. And then I got to thank Murder Graphics, and then also my parents. They're always watching your guys' stream.
Congratulations. There he is on a podium with us for the first time in the BRPtv iRacing League. It is Anthony Roselli. Joe, a great night from Knoxville. We are getting some dandies this year, man.
We really are, and I am so happy to see it. We've had trials and tribulations of some races with this series that take a couple yellows to get squared away, and I think one of the things coming into this season that I was curious about was how the field changes, how the dynamic changes when you bring in new drivers. We have the Rosellis, we have Nick Sheridan, who wasn't here tonight with us. How does the whole crew mesh and race each other? What's the tempo? What's the morale? It really has come together very nicely at this point in the season. And yeah, we've had a couple of weeks where we really don't have a lot of yellows. We get a lot of really good racing. It's clean, it's fair, and it's been really nice. Glad to hear that the Rosellis got a little bit of love watching along with the streams with us. I know Anthony called out. He said he's not big on qualifying, but he was the fastest qualifier at Lernerville all the way back at the beginning of the season. So I thought I might call him on that one because he's got it in him somewhere. But nonetheless, yeah, I agree, Jonathan. Things have been really shaping up. They've been nice and fun, and it's making it a lot easier. I'm sure you're feeling the same way. It makes it easier to come on board and do these features and these races when you know the guys are going to race clean, they're going to race each other well, and we're going to have a lot of excitement along with it.
Yeah, it's been so great. I mean, I'm really looking forward to each and every race and each week that we come on and just seeing how things play out because for whatever reason, yes, Cody Higbie has won a lot of races this year as we see the unofficial results, but Joe, it just seems like we're getting some great racing. I mean, Ryan Beagle now multi-time winner on the season. He wins it over Cody Higbie. Anthony Roselli gets his first podium. Dominic Roselli right there in fourth. Good for both of those drivers to be back up inside the top five. Great run from Gavin Isley to be in the top five. Matt DeRitter, Dean Reynolds, Jamie Porter rebounds to eighth after the contact that sent him tail. And Ryan Susi and Jeff Sharp round out your top 10.
Beautiful stuff, and I absolutely agree with you, Jonathan, as the rest of them come up. Pachalski, Meitzler, Cunningham, Brian Berger, and unfortunately, back on the block, Beef had a connection issue that took him out of contention, out of the race completely. 15 drivers to finish it up at the Hawkeye State 60. But yeah, it's been a great run through to this point, and now here's the next question, because I ask you a lot of questions, Jonathan. I'm curious what you have to say about a lot of things because I trust you and value your input as a person, on top of the fact that you're also my broadcast partner. But we did 2 half-mile tracks, one of them kind of banked up, Speed Palace, and then flat but still very fast at Knoxville. And now we just take that, and it's like a wiffle ball curveball, like one of those super exaggerated curveballs. And we're going to Fairbury next week.
You know what? I think that's exactly what we need. I think it's going to provide some shakeup. I think it's probably going to lead to some chaos. And I think regardless of the chaos, I still think we're going to get some good racing at Fairbury. Can't wait for that one.
I also can't wait for that one. Love Fairbury. It's a good racetrack. It's going to be fun, modified. It's bigger cars, a lot of horsepower. It'll be interesting to see. Last year we had a lot of small blocks racing that race because we were doing the small block, big block battle. So it's going to be a cool little dynamic to just bring everybody in with the big block. But you have to wait a week to get to that point. So on behalf of everybody who's a part of the BRP iRacing series, we got to make special shout outs to all of our partners, Dig Race Products, Creative Turnings, MDR Designs, Southern Ontario Dirt Show, Murder Graphics, 47 Technology, of course ourselves at BRPtv. On behalf of Matt DeRitter and Corby Daniels running the series, all of those partners we mentioned, everybody watching along with the streams, we appreciate everybody coming out to check out the series. If you want to keep in touch and not have to remind yourself, you can subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the YouTube channel to get the notification we go live. You can also head over to Facebook and check things out over there. I know Matt DeRitter does a lot of work to put this series out over on the Facebook side. And yeah, been great. Jonathan Howe alongside myself. My name has been and will continue to be Joe Donahue. And until we see you guys again at Fairbury, have a safe and happy week. Work hard, play hard. These guys, they work hard and then they play hard here on the dirt for you with the BRP iRacing series. It's going to be a great time at Fairbury next time, and it's time to say sayonara for now.